The Dark Knight Rises was the final chapter in director Christopher Nolan's uber-successful Dark Knight trilogy. I'm Matt Barton, and join me in taking a look back at how the film was made, promotional tie-ins and marketing, a recap and analysis of the film itself, and merchandise like the Dark Knight Rises mobile game. Here is the final chapter of Christian Bale's Batman saga, where the Dark Knight would face off against brand new takes on Catwoman, Bane, and once again, the League of Shadows in this climactic finale. Here is a look back at the Dark Knight Rises. Batman Begins and The Dark Knight were released to massive critical and financial success. Despite this success, however, director Christopher Nolan was hesitant to once again return to the series, stating that third films are usually never good. Further, the unexpected death of Heath Ledger in 2008 caused Nolan to hesitate to continue the series as well, as even editing The Dark Knight was difficult for him given his close relationship to Ledger. Nolan ultimately decided to return to finish the trilogy after directing 2010's Inception, a film that featured a cast nearly identical to his next Batman film, and only after developing a story Nolan felt was a justified conclusion. This concept included building upon Goyer's blueprint for the trilogy, while avoiding studio demands like including the Riddler as a villain, a similar character to the fan-favorite Joker. Interestingly, the studio wanted Leonardo DiCaprio, the lead of Nolan's Inception film, to play the Riddler character, or Robin Williams, who was also eyed for the same role for 1995's Batman Forever. Writer David S. Goyer initially mapped out a full trilogy in 2005. Goyer's early concepts included the rise of Harvey Dent and the transformation into Two-Face, with Joker playing a central role across multiple films. In fact, the original plan for the trilogy was to have The Dark Knight focus on Harvey Dent working with Batman to stop the Joker, and in the third film, the Joker would scar Dent in the courtroom, turning him into Two-Face and to the dark side. Both plot lines were condensed into The Dark Knight. And following Ledger's passing, Nolan decided to not recast the Joker out of respect, and the character's role in The Dark Knight Rises was eliminated. Because most of Goyer's sequel treatments had already been combined into the Dark Knight film, and Goyer left the production to begin pre-production on 2013's Man of Steel, Nolan decided to select Bane as the primary antagonist, a realistic villain known for physical dominance and ideological extremism. Nolan's guiding philosophy was to treat the trilogy as a complete overarching narrative with a defined ending, something rare in superhero cinema, especially with the rise of DC's main competitor, Marvel Studios' cinematic universe. The story drew inspiration from the revolutionary Dickens novel A Tale of Two Cities, as well as classic Batman comic arcs like Nightfall, The Dark Knight Returns, and No Man's Land. Nolan shaped a story centered on societal collapse, revolution, hope, and, once again, legacy. Thus, the Dark Knight trilogy was a trilogy defined not by becoming bigger and better through size and scope of production, but by shifting genre.
Batman Begins is very much a hero's journey. It's an origin story, it's an origin myth, and so it has a sense of romanticism or theatricality that embraces that story model. With The Dark Knight, in order to change the scale of the film, we went to a city story, we went to a crime epic. There's a city-based socioeconomic idea behind the film that demands a different visual approach. And then moving that into The Dark Knight Rises, we move into the arena of the disaster movie or the historical epic. A film that embraces all of Gotham, all the humanity there, lots of different people encountering tumultuous events. So we chose to increase the scale not by sort of just blowing up a balloon, if you like, which sequels get into trouble doing, but by shifting genres.
Christian Bale returned as Bruce Wayne, portraying a physically and emotionally broken Batman. 8 years removed from his time as the vigilante, 8 years after killing Gotham's White Knight and taking the fall for Dent's crimes, 8 years after the death of Rachel, the love of Bruce's life, a woman who wrote Bruce a letter telling him she chose Dent over him, a letter that Alfred, upon Rachel's death, burned to prevent Bruce from any further pain. Bale approached the role as a man driven by unresolved trauma, towing the line between heroism and grief-stricken self-destruction. Michael Caine reprised his role as Alfred, whose relationship with Bruce becomes strained over Bruce's return to donning the cowl of the Batman. Caine delivering perhaps his most powerful performance of the series in this installment. Gary Oldman returned as Commissioner Gordon, guilty from all the years where he lied about Dent. Early on in the film, it's made apparent that Gordon's wife left him and took the kids, and his job as commissioner was soon to be up. Anne Hathaway joined the cast as Selina Kyle, the Catwoman, blending physical agility with charm, drawing inspiration from classic Hollywood figures like Hedy Lamarr. Notably, Zoe Kravitz auditioned for the role of Catwoman, being rejected for seeming too urban, ironically, despite the film being set in an urban environment. Though Kravitz finally secured the role in 2022's The Batman. Justly so. Tom Hardy portrayed Bane, undergoing intense physical training and gaining significant weight for the role. Hardy invented a unique voice for the character to emphasize Bane's manipulative genius intellect, despite his brawny physical presence. Though Bane looked cool, certainly, the voice largely came off sounding more like a stereotypical mad scientist, not really matching the character or audience expectations for the character, but also drawing significant criticism and parody, even more so than Bale's raspy Batman voice. Marion Cotillard was cast as Miranda Tate, later revealed to be Talia al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul's daughter, continuing his legacy. Ra's al Ghul himself returned as a sort of dreamlike ghost, an external voice for Bruce's internal fear. Gotham's destruction without its dark savior, once again portrayed by Liam Neeson. And lastly, Joseph Gordon-Levitt played John Blake, a character representing hope and moral clarity within Gotham. What Rachel had meant to Bruce in Batman Begins, and what Harvey Dent had symbolized for the citizens of Gotham in The Dark Knight. Towards the end of the film, Blake's legal name is revealed to be Robin John Blake, an homage to Batman's sidekick in the comics. This route was likely chosen to keep the story grounded, gritty, and realistic, especially since including the character in his base form didn't work out quite so well in the past. Regardless, The Dark Knight Rises, just like the film's two predecessors, attempted to leverage an Oscar-winning, stellar cast of talent. Costume designer Lindy Hemmings strayed from the classic comic book design for the Bane character, the luchador-inspired mask and outfit, and approached his look with more of a fusion of military gear and revolutionary symbolism. His mask, designed using a 3D model of Hardy's face, is meant to act as a gas mask, this gas helping Bane manage constant pain, while visually evoking a look that is both mechanically complex and animalistically cobbled together. The Batsuit, reused from The Dark Knight, consisted of over 100 individual components, once again allowing Bale's Batman increased flexibility. Meanwhile, Catwoman's suit used skin-tight, high-performance materials for mobility and sleekness, as well as included stilettos with blades for heels. Unlike Bane, Anne Hathaway's portrayal of Catwoman was, at the time, perhaps the most comic-accurate live-action adaptation of the character in both physical appearance and character writing. Production designer Nathan Crowley emphasized realism over stylization, once again very much in line with Nolan's grounded vision for the series. Unlike the prior films, however, The Dark Knight Rises was shot mainly in Pittsburgh rather than Chicago, where Gotham was reimagined with a harsher winter aesthetic, reinforcing the film's tone as a war story rather than a traditional superhero plot. Batman's new vehicle, the Bat, a modern reworking of the classic Batcopter and Batwing, was designed with real-world military inspiration like the Harrier jet and Apache helicopter. The Bat's massive size was a challenge for filming because Nolan insisted on practical effects as much as possible. In order to make the Bat fly, the massive structure was suspended by wires from cranes and helicopters and was mounted on a hydraulic vehicle to simulate upward movement.
It's not a matte painting, it's not a rotoscope job, it's not a CGI approximation, it's the real thing.
Even though it doesn't fly, it's a hell of a presence to see something in its real scale just soaring down a street.
Chris Corbold and Chris's designs are just phenomenal what they come up with. They managed to have it be fantastical, but yet grounded in some kind of a reality as well that you could truly look and say, maybe that could actually work. You know, a Batman without new gadgets, without new toys is not Batman at all. So it's a wonderful new gadget and takes everything to a whole new level. And it always comes in black, has to.
This emphasis on practical effects once again allowed the cast to feel as if they are right in the middle of the action, rather than being separated from the action with CGI, allowing audiences to feel the same. Sets like the Batcave and Bane's underground prison were constructed to feel grounded, gritty, massive, and of course, cool. The prison was meant to literally feel like one was in hell, peering up at the small circle of light, of hope, just out of reach. Principal photography began in May 2011, filming in domestic locations like Pittsburgh, Los Angeles, New York City, and in several international locations including Jodhpur, Newark, and Glasgow. One of the most intense and difficult to film international scenes involved hanging a plane below another plane and allowing the smaller plane to crash to the ground below in the Scottish Highlands. A parachuter on set reportedly also crashed through the roof of a house, luckily surviving. Pittsburgh served as Gotham City's primary backdrop, hosting large-scale sequences including a football stadium scene featuring over 11,000 extras.
On your ears, guys!
It's something that's heavily relying on Paul Franklin's visual effects team to put those things together. The destruction of the football field. Obviously, I challenge everybody to put as many real elements in that frame as possible.
The film operated under the codename Magnus Rex to allow for maximum secrecy. During filming, Nolan refused to film with 3D digital cameras, as pushed by the studio, instead using IMAX cameras. Over an hour of the final film's footage was shot in IMAX, significantly expanding on the format's use compared to the previous film. Nolan remained committed to film over digital, rightfully so, as film simply looks better. He even hosted a private IMAX screening for fellow directors to advocate for preserving traditional film formats. The only downside to his heavier use of IMAX cameras was in the edit, where the letterbox bars would visibly change on screen, even between shots of characters speaking to each other, due to the differing aspect ratios of the cameras. Filming concluded in November 2011. The score was composed by Hans Zimmer, who returned after his work on the previous films. Zimmer's approach to the soundtrack once again emphasized tension. A powerful chant-based motif underscored Bane's presence on screen, reinforcing his role as both a physical and ideological force, a demon rising from hell to destroy. The score helped to support the film's epic scope, while ensuring not to overshadow the emotional core of Bruce Wayne's journey. With The Dark Knight's massive billion-dollar box office pull, Warner Brothers desired another strong financial hit. Thus, the incredibly intricate and creative marketing campaign used to slowly and methodically introduce audiences to the new take on the Joker and raise general audience knowledge about the Harvey Dent Two-Face character was replicated in hopes for another financial victory. The first Dark Knight Rises campaign involved hiding a secret hashtag, "The Fire Rises," inside of the sound spectrum signature of Bane's prison chant. This hashtag led those that decoded the chant to the first reveal photo of Tom Hardy as Bane. Then, just like its predecessor, The Dark Knight, a teaser was released for The Dark Knight Rises, barely showing any footage.
The Batman has to come back.
What if he doesn't exist anymore?
He must.
What was shown gave audiences one clear message, with Gordon lying in a hospital bed, begging for the Batman's return. We haven't seen anything yet. After 2 official trailers were released, Warner Brothers began another viral marketing campaign, this time stating if fans wanted to see the third and final trailer, they'd have to help the GCPD track down Batman by locating real-world pieces of graffiti planted across the globe. For every piece of Bat graffiti found, Warner Brothers would reveal a frame of the new trailer. The full trailer was revealed rather quickly, showing strong audience determination to see more Batman, meaning the campaign was a success. However, some outlets at the time stated it was difficult for some to be excited about this third trailer while Marvel's The Avengers was coming out in theaters. Nevertheless, The Dark Knight Rises stars began appearing in interviews, and television advertisement tie-ins began playing between programs.
Go inside Gotham City. Under every cap of Mountain Dew, there's a code to unlock exclusive content from The Dark Knight Rises. In theaters July 20th.
Though there weren't traditional Dark Knight Rises Happy Meal toys or other kids' meals, Domino's Pizza featured a Dark Knight Rises meal, giving out free glasses with the Bat insignia. And at last, on July 20th, 2012, 4 years after the critical and financial victory of 2008's The Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises was released in cinemas across the globe.
I knew Harvey Dent. I was his friend.
The film opens with 3 mercenaries being brought onto a plane. One of them is revealed to be the masked man named Bane. Bane's men infiltrate the airplane, using another plane to hoist the first into the air, destroying it. Nuclear physicist Dr. Pavel is kidnapped, and Bane uses a blood transfusion and body double to stage Dr. Pavel's death after the plane crashes.
Now is not the time for fear. That comes later.
Bane gets away with the real Dr. Pavel. After this, it is revealed that nearly a decade has passed since the passing of Harvey Dent, and an event is hosted at Wayne Manor in his honor. The event is used to not only give exposition that Batman is indeed thought to have killed Harvey, and Wayne hasn't showed up to an event in years watching silently from the shadows above, but it also introduces Selina Kyle pretending to hostess. Gordon is called up to the stand for a speech about Harvey Dent, where he decided he was going to tell the truth about what actually happened all those years ago.
I have a speech
telling the truth about Harvey Dent? Maybe the time isn't right.
Instead, he puts the speech back into his pocket and relies on the fabricated story once again, not wanting to tear a hole in Gotham again, not wanting to ruin the positive outcome of the Dent Act, which helped to keep the mob out of the city.
All you need to know is that there are 1,000 inmates in Blackgate Prison as a direct result of the Dent Act. Maybe, for now, all I should say about the death of Harvey Dent is this. It has not been for nothing.
I heard he never leaves the East Wing. You know, I heard he had an accident. Yeah, that he's disfigured. He has to go.
Mr. Till,
Can I help?
the East drawing room. Unlock the door, put the tray on the table, lock the door again. Nothing more.
Selina brings a tray of food for Bruce as a woman referred to as Miss Tate tries to see him, but is told no by Alfred. Selina, after poking around the East Wing, is caught by Bruce.
I'm so terribly sorry, Mr. Wayne.
It's a beautiful necklace. Reminds me of one that belonged to my mother. It can't be the same one, because her pearls are safe. Manufacturer clearly explained is uncrackable.
Nobody told me it was uncrackable.
I'm afraid I can't let you take those.
Good night, Mr. Wayne.
A man named Officer Blake is introduced, questioning Gordon about Batman. He wants to know what actually happened that night 8 years ago, and even more so, who was behind the cape and cowl.
I know exactly who he was. He was the Batman.
Alfred finds Bruce in the Batcave researching Selina Kyle.
What's she after?
My fingerprints.
You two should exchange notes over coffee.
So now you're trying to set me up with a jewel thief.
At this point, I'd set you up with a chimpanzee if it brought you back to the world.
There's nothing out there for me.
And that's the problem. You hung up your cape and your cowl, but you didn't move on. You never went to find a life, to find someone.
Alfred, I did find someone.
I know, and you lost them, but that's all part of living, sir. You're just waiting, hoping for things to go bad again. Remember when you left Gotham? I had this fantasy that I would look across the tables and I'd see you there with a wife, maybe a couple of kids. I never wanted you to come back to Gotham. I always knew there was nothing here for you except pain and tragedy.
Selina Kyle gives Bruce's fingerprints to the man who hired her, which results in a police shootout. Gordon chases a shooter down into the sewers and is captured, where it's revealed that the sewer system had been transformed into a massive underground lair. Work done by the aged-out foster boys Blake had coached ball for.
It's the police commissioner.
And you brought him down here.
Gordon escapes, injured.
Follow him.
Follow him.
Blake demands to see Bruce Wayne. The officer pleads with Bruce to come back as the Batman, and after he leaves, Alfred tells Bruce that another businessman, Mr. Daggett, has brought mercenaries to Gotham. Bruce decides it's time to return to the world. Not just as Bruce Wayne, but if Gotham is ready, as the Batman. He heads to the hospital to be checked out, where it's revealed that his body isn't fit to wear the suit again. Bruce then heads to Gordon's hospital room, where the injured commissioner begs for the Dark Knight's return.
The Batman has to come back.
What if he doesn't exist anymore?
He won't.
Bruce heads to a masquerade charity ball, no doubt a reference to the Batman Returns masquerade event, where he speaks with Miss Tate about their failed clean energy project. It's revealed that Dr. Pavel had published a study stating that nuclear fusion devices like the Wayne Enterprises project could easily be hijacked and turned into a bomb. Thus, Wayne shut down the project.
If I couldn't.
Bruce then finds Selina.
You were supposed to be a shut-in.
I felt like some fresh air. Some brazen costume for a cat burglar.
Who are you pretending to be?
Bruce Wayne, eccentric billionaire.
I take what I need from those who have more than enough. I don't stand on the shoulders of people with less.
Robin Hood.
I think I do more to help someone than most of the people in this room.
I think maybe you're assuming.
You think all this can last? There's a storm coming, Mr. Wayne. You're all gonna wonder how you ever thought you could live so large and leave so little for the rest of us.
Bruce speaks with Lucius about the company's money issues, where it becomes apparent that this clean energy project ate up a majority of Bruce's fortune. Lucius recommends Bruce show it to Miss Tate anyway, but he isn't quite convinced. Lucius then shows Bruce a brand new piece of equipment, a sort of airborne armored vehicle.
I just took the call and get the bat. And yes, Mr. Wayne, it does come in black.
Bruce then uses a brace to help his leg recover.
Is it really painful?
You're very welcome to try it, Alfred.
Happy watching, thank you, sir.
And Alfred tells Bruce about the legend of Bane.
There is a prison in a more ancient part of the world, a pit, where men are thrown to suffer. But sometimes a man rises from the darkness. Sometimes the pit sends something back.
Bane, born in a prison?
No one knows why or how he escaped, but they do know that once he did, he was trained by Ra's al Ghul.
Bane was a member of the League of Shadows.
And then he was excommunicated. And you can just strap up your leg and put your mask back on, but that doesn't make you what you were.
If this man is everything that you say he is, then the city needs him.
The city needs Bruce Wayne.
Alfred tells Bruce it's clear that Bruce feels like there's nothing left for him, and Alfred is afraid that Bruce might think dying in battle with Bane would be a good end for him. Bane infiltrates the stock exchange, digitally robbing the brokerages.
Time to go mobile.
Everybody up!
Thank you.
I've got something.
The mercenaries escape on motorcycle with hostages, and cops chase after the bikes.
What's going on with the lights?
Boy, you are in for a show tonight, son.
It's clear with that very line that the film did indeed draw heavy inspiration from Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. Not just drawing ideas, but referencing exact lines to honor the iconic source material. In a quick scene reminiscent to the Batman Begins police chase, though honestly much lower energy, Batman escapes the police in the Bat.
Like a rat in a trap, gentlemen!
You might have the wrong animal there, sir.
Catwoman shows up at Daggett's home, demanding he give her the clean slate program. Bane's mercenaries attack her, and Batman arrives to help her.
You gotta be kidding me.
No guns, no killing.
Where's the fun in that?
Catwoman sees Bane right as the two escape.
My mother warned me about getting into calls with strange men.
This doesn't occur.
Daggett seemed pretty interested in that mess at the stock market.
It's good. So that's what that feels like.
Upon returning to the Batcave, Alfred threatens Bruce, after seeing Bane's fighting skill, that Alfred will leave if Bruce doesn't stop trying to return as Batman.
Ra's al Ghul was the League of Shadows and I beat him. Bane is just a mercenary. We need to find out what he's up to.
Trades, some kind. And my fingerprint courtesy of Selina Kyle.
Get this to Fox. He can crack the code and tell us what trades they were executing.
I'll get this to Mr. Fox, but no more. I've sewn you up, I've set your bones, but I won't bury you.
He doesn't want to see Bruce die, leading to this powerful scene, masterfully performed by the two skilled actors.
Heard enough members of the Wayne family.
You leave me?
You see only one end to your journey. Leaving is all I have to make you understand. You used to talk about finishing, about a life beyond that awful cave.
Rachel died knowing that we had decided to be together. That was my life beyond the cave. I can't just move on.
What if before she died, she wrote a letter saying she chose Harvey Dent over you? And what if, to spare you pain, I burnt that letter?
How dare you use Rachel to try to stop me?
I am using the truth, Master Wayne. Maybe it's time we all stop trying to outsmart the truth and let it have its day. I'm sorry.
You're sorry. You expect to destroy my world.
I know what this means.
What does it mean?
It means your hatred, and it also means losing someone that I have cared for since I first heard his cries through this house. But it might also mean saving your life.
Goodbye, Alfred.
As it turned out, Bane was not in fact robbing the stock exchange. Instead, he had used the fingerprints obtained by Selina Kyle to place terrible stock bets on Bruce Wayne's behalf, draining his personal value. This would give Daggett the majority share of Wayne Enterprises, putting the nuclear fusion device at risk. The two decide Miss Tate is their only hope and show her the device.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this meeting will now come to order.
Do we have a non-board member here? Even if his family name is above the door.
Bruce Wayne's family built this company.
And he himself is running.
Into the ground, sir. Crazy gambling on futures has not only cost Mr. Wayne his seat, it's cost us all a lot of money, and he has to go.
Wayne is escorted from the boardroom and Officer Blake offers to take him home. Daggett, furious that Bane's hit on the stock market didn't allow him to take over the company as he thought, Tate taking the role instead, Bane tells Daggett he's no longer, and in fact has never been, in charge, killing him.
Leave us.
No, stay here.
I'm in charge.
Do you feel in charge? Your money and infrastructure have been important. Till now, I'm necessary evil.
No. The idea was to be a symbol. Batman could be anybody. That was the point.
After meeting with Selina and telling her to locate Bane, Bruce arrives back at Wayne Manor to find Miss Tate. He leaves her at the manor to meet Catwoman, who takes him to Bane, trapping him.
You made a serious mistake.
Not as serious as yours, I fear.
Originally, this scene had music, but upon watching it, Nolan made the decision to pull the music, as the scene had much more impact without it.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? I was born in it, molded by it. I was wondering what would break first. Your spirit? Or your body?
The Batman is defeated and is imprisoned where Bane grew up. so Bruce could watch from behind bars as Gotham is destroyed. Bane tells Bruce that he plans to use the same weapon against Gotham that the prison used on him: hope. Bane returns to Gotham and, with the forced help of Tate, Fox, and Fredericks, turns the nuclear reactor into an atom bomb. Gordon orders all of Gotham's officers, aside from Blake, whom he tells to chase down the Daggett leads, into the Gotham sewer system to smoke Bane out.
We're seeing literally thousands of police heading into the sewers. Mr. Mayor, we're literally thousands of police.
It's a training exercise, that's all. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got tickets to watch our boys thrash Rapid City.
After Blake discovers Bane's men have been making concrete laced with explosives, Bane triggers a detonator, destroying a football field. Trapping the officers in the sewer below.
Identify yourselves to the world. Dr. Leonid Pavel.
What is this?
Fully primed neutron bomb.
And who is capable of disarming such a device?
Only me.
Thank you, good doctor.
Bane announces to Gotham that they are now free, using the tumblers and prison break as a sort of revolution, the people reclaiming the city from the elites. In fact, to drive the message home, Bane reads the speech Gordon was meant to have read at the beginning of the film at Harvey Dent's event.
The Batman didn't murder Harvey Dent, he saved my boy, then took the blame for Harvey's appalling crimes so that I could build a lie around this fallen idol. It is time to trust the people of Gotham with the truth, and it is time for me to resign.
And do you accept this man's resignation?
Of all of these liars, of all the corrupt!
Unfortunately, however, Bane, as he told Bruce, was simply using the uprising to give Gothamites a semblance of hope, to torture them, and even more so, Bruce, as he sits in prison watching this all go down, as Bane has absolutely no plan to stop the bomb from going off.
Many years ago, it was a time of plague. Some of the other prisoners attacked Bane. The doctor's fumbling attempts to repair the damage left him in perpetual agony. The mask holds the pain at bay.
He was born here.
The legend is that there was a mercenary who worked for a local warlord. He fell in love with the warlord's daughter. They were married in secret. When the warlord found out, the mercenary was condemned to this pit. But then he exiled him instead. She took his place in the pit. And she was with child, the mercenary's child. The child had a friend, a protector, who showed the others that this innocence was their redemption. It was to be prized. This is Bane's prison now. He wouldn't want this story told.
Did you not think I would return, Bruce? I told you I was immortal. Once I had a wife. My great love. She was taken from me. You're the mercenary. I'm here to ensure the League of Shadows fulfills its duty to restore balance to civilization. And the only victory you could achieve was a lie. Now you understand. Gotham is beyond saving. No. And must be allowed to die.
Bruce, after the doctor helps his back, attempts to make his way out of the prison and fails. After deciding to try once more without a rope, Bruce begins the climb, and in a nod back to Batman Begins, Bruce makes the jump, and the Dark Knight rises, ready to save Gotham one last time.
Impossible.
Wear a mask. I'm not afraid to be seen standing up to these guys.
The mask's not for you. It's to protect the people you care about.
Batman helps Blake break the cops out of the sewer, ready for war.
Hey, no offense, but you got something bigger in that belt.
He gives Catwoman the clean slate drive and tells her to use the Bat-Pod to blow open a path for citizens to escape. Batman tells her she should come back and help him fight Bane.
I'll open that tunnel, then I'm gone.
There's more to you than that.
Sorry to keep letting you down.
Then, in the final showdown, what remains of Gotham's police force lines up to fight Bane. And completely antithetical to the beginning of the film where they were hunting him, the cops cheer as the Batman shows up to fight alongside them.
You think you're the only one who could learn the strength to escape?
He's not the child of Ra's al Ghul. I am.
Miranda Tate reveals her true identity as Talia al Ghul.
Bye, my friend.
As Bane readies himself to kill Batman, Catwoman shows up just in time.
About the whole no guns thing. I'm not sure I feel as strongly about it as you do.
In a well-choreographed chase scene, Batman in the Bat and Catwoman on the Bat-Pod work together to stop the semi carrying the bomb.
My sort of rule of thumb was we could do a fanciful visual effects sequence if the last shot was real. If you could make the punchline to your sequence a real element, when we did the Batmobile through the waterfall into the Batcave, or in Dark Knight Rises, the truck coming down from the street above, they're intended to be the stamp on the end of, an action sequence. If those things can be clearly real and clearly have a sort of grittiness to them, it buys you a lot before that's more fanciful.
Talia tells them before dying that she overrode the reactor's controls, flooding their only hope of stabilizing the bomb.
I've gone anywhere, did anything, but you came back here.
So did you.
Guess we're both suckers.
I never cared who you were. And you're right. Shouldn't the people know the hero who saved them? A hero can be anyone, even a man doing something as simple and reassuring as putting a coat around a young boy's shoulders to let him know the world isn't Bruce Wayne.
With the nuclear bomb strapped to the Bat, a device with a broken autopilot feature, Batman carries the bomb out to sea, where it erupts.
It is a far, far better thing that I do. It is a far, far better rest that I go to.
I'm so sorry. I failed you.
The Wayne family home is turned into the new foster home. A new bat signal is installed on top of the GCPD, and Blake's legal name is revealed to be Robin, thus setting up who would, indeed, take over Batman's mantle following Bruce Wayne's death. Or supposed death, rather. And with that, the Dark Knight trilogy ends on a high note. Hope for a future with a brand new Batman and Bruce Wayne finally retiring after finally having hope for a normal life himself, having finally given Gotham everything. The Dark Knight Rises, the final film in the trilogy, relived a lot of moments from the prior films as fan service, but occasionally towed the line between blatantly just redoing things like the police chase and becoming Batman. The action seemed slower and less polished than The Dark Knight, though the ending was fantastic and thought-provoking. The strongest themes prevalent throughout the film included revolution, hope, and legacy. Bane's idea to stage the League of Shadows' destruction of Gotham as a revolution, something to cheer for when in fact it was merely trickery, everyone would die anyway, was a brilliant one. The revolutionary mindset to destroy in hopes to rebuild better has been a common mindset throughout history, easy to manipulate. Rising up was not just about hope, looking to light in times of darkness, but literally rising up against the establishment. Something Robin decides to do at the end of the film, ditching his police badge to continue the legacy of the Batman. Bruce, after looking for someone to continue his push for justice in Gotham, after failing with his first attempt at this, Harvey Dent, finally feels as though Robin has what it takes to uphold the legacy of Gotham's savior, to become the Batman. The final chapter of Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, The Dark Knight Rises, was at last released in theaters in July 2012. The film received mostly positive reviews from critics and audiences, with critics praising it as an ambitious and emotional conclusion to the trilogy. Many critics also praised the film's scale, atmosphere, and performances. Robbie Collin of the Daily Telegraph described it as a superhero film without a superhero, highlighting its layered storytelling and Tom Hardy's intimidating performance as Bane. Though some critics noted that Bane did not quite match the cultural impact of Heath Ledger's Joker from The Dark Knight. Critic Richard Roper described the movie as majestic and richly satisfying, especially praising the final scenes.
We've done various things over the years to keep them secret and under wraps. Probably the most extreme was with the funeral scene for Bruce Wayne. I knew that we couldn't really have the art department make up the correct name on the gravestone because that would have been just too hard to keep under wraps. So we just went with a different name and used visual effects to change it.
Not all reactions were positive, however. Some reviewers criticized the film for being overly long and complicated. Roger Ebert said the movie began slowly and featured too many characters before building toward a strong finale. The Dark Knight Rises became a major commercial and cultural success. The film earned over $1 billion worldwide, making it the highest-grossing Batman film and one of 2012's biggest movies, earning just below The Avengers and Skyfall. The movie also received significant recognition during awards season. Overall, the film earned more than 100 nominations and won over 80 awards worldwide. It received nominations at the British Academy Film Awards, Critics' Choice Awards, Satellite Awards, MTV Movie Awards, Teen Choice Awards, and the Saturn Awards. Major wins included recognition from the American Film Institute as one of the top 10 films of 2012, winning awards for visual effects, sound design, music, and action filmmaking. Composer Hans Zimmer received several honors for the film's powerful score, which, along with the other Dark Knight trilogy scores, became one of the most recognizable superhero soundtracks of the decade. Cast members like Christian Bale and Anne Hathaway were also recognized for their performances, particularly Hathaway's portrayal of Selina Kyle. Today, The Dark Knight Rises remains one of the defining superhero films of the 2010s. Most agreed that it delivered an ambitious and memorable ending to Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. As The Dark Knight Rises prepared to hit theaters in July of 2012, it was clear that the film was marketed as the end of an era. For 8 years, director Christopher Nolan had transformed audience reception of the Batman films as camp slop to sell toys into one of the most grounded and commercially successful film franchises in Hollywood history. As Warner Brothers prepared for the grand finale's release, they launched one of the largest ever Batman merchandising campaigns, rivaling the so-called Batmania of 1989. This wasn't just about toys. Warner Brothers wanted The Dark Knight Rises everywhere. Warner Brothers described the campaign, which exploded in popularity around the film's release, as a worldwide licensing program. Trade reports at the time described over 300 licensees producing more than 1,000 Dark Knight Rises products worldwide. The Dark Knight Rises marked one of Mattel's largest action figure pushes to date. The centerpiece of the line was the now famous Movie Masters collection, highly detailed 6-inch figures aimed at not just kids, but adult collectors. Batman himself received multiple variants, including versions with interchangeable gear and battle damage. Other characters included Bane and Catwoman, as well as Alfred and Officer Blake. Mattel introduced a new feature called Quick Tech, which allowed armor and other accessories to easily snap onto figures. Quick Tech was very much an attempt to balance collector appeal with interactive play features for kids within the same toy line. Companies like Hot Toys produced hyper-detailed statues and figures aimed at hardcore fans willing to spend hundreds of dollars for screen-accurate collectibles, with new Dark Knight Rises hyper-realistic statues still being produced to this day. LEGO released officially licensed building sets inspired by the film, bringing Nolan's grounded Gotham into LEGO form for the first time. The Batman Begins and Dark Knight sets were produced after the success of the Dark Knight Rises sets, which featured, of course, the Dark Knight Rises heroes and villains, as well as the vehicles from the film. There were plush toys, oversized figures, Funko Pops, remote control tumblers, and even a Batman-themed Mr. Potato Head. That's how big this marketing push was. Alongside children's graphic tees, Warner Brothers partnered with brands like Converse for limited edition sneakers, caps, jackets, and other Dark Knight Rises apparel. An interesting collaboration involved Under Armour, releasing Gotham Rogues-inspired athletic apparel. McFarlane Toys even produced a collectible figure of Hines Ward wearing the Gotham Rogues uniform from the film. On top of toys and apparel, there were also printed tie-ins. The official novelization was written by Greg Cox, released alongside other adaptations for younger readers, activity books, and coffee table releases like Batmobile: The Complete History. There was also the art and making of the Dark Knight trilogy, a behind-the-scenes look at the production process. A miniature excerpt from the book was included in the Dark Knight trilogy DVD box set. And just like The Dark Knight Rises was not released alongside a full-length tie-in comic adaptation. Rather, The Dark Knight Rises comic adaptation was made available through an app specifically for Nokia cell phones, a brand partner consisting of just the prologue adapted into comic form. A partner app provided origin comics for all of the Dark Knight trilogy's villains. Lastly, just like The Dark Knight, which saw the cancellation of 2 separate tie-in video games, The Dark Knight Rises was not released alongside a tie-in home console video game either. However, the film did receive a tie-in video game for mobile phones, iOS and Android. Developed and published by Gameloft, The Dark Knight Rises was an open-world mobile game, praised for great graphics. The game's mechanics seemingly inspired by the uber-popular Arkham games. The game followed the plot of the film closely.
We have to stop running into each other like this.
What are you doing now?
Not including the official actors as voice actors, but still having a stellar cast, some even putting on voices better than the real cast. The game was live on app stores years after release. indicating the long-standing success of the final film in the trilogy, but also the quality of this tie-in mobile game. Thus, as home console video game tie-ins began to die out, tie-in mobile games were on the rise.
Well, I'd heard rumors that you were the one meddling in my affairs. It seems I was incorrect in dismissing them. But your valiant efforts have been in vain. Today, Gotham burns.
You're finished, Bane.
Never. Never!
This is WGTC reporting live. The siege of Gotham is over.
Merchandise sold extremely well. Reports suggested merchandise sales were already outperforming those tied to 2008's The Dark Knight before the film was even released. Because for many people, The Dark Knight Rises wasn't just another superhero movie. It felt like the closing chapter of something larger, the end of a cinematic era that redefined Batman in all forms of media going forward. And Warner Brothers' massive merchandising campaign ensured that audiences could literally take a piece of that era home with them. Following the massive success of the Dark Knight trilogy's final installment, Warner Brothers offered Nolan and Bale the chance to make a fourth Dark Knight film. Whether fortunate or unfortunate, the two decided to maintain the integrity of the trilogy and its arc, turning down the offer for a fourth film. Then in 2013, Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, starring Henry Cavill as Superman, was released, another financial hit. In an attempt to catch up with Marvel Studios' successful cinematic universe, Warner Brothers decided it was time to produce the Batman vs. Superman film they were eyeing for some time, as far back as before Batman Begins was even greenlit.
Thanks everybody for supporting the movie. That is official that we are going to make another Superman movie. I have a friend with me, this Harry Lennox. Harry Lennox was in Man of Steel, and the reason I brought him out is because his voice is just way better than mine. He's going to read you a little thing. He's going to read a little thing. All right, now let's get it.
I want you to remember, Clark, in all the years to come, in all your most private moments, I want you to remember my hand at your throat. I want you to remember the one man who beat you.
Whoa. What? What?
The new film starring DC's World's Finest was announced at Comic-Con to massive applause and anticipation. Because Christopher Nolan was a producer for both Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman, many speculated that Christian Bale's Batman would indeed make a return, as even the branding of the Man of Steel film very much matched that of the Dark Knight trilogy. The internet ran wild, making fan posters of Cavill and Bale in costume together. But in August of 2013, it was announced that Christian Bale was not, in fact, returning as Batman. In his place, a new star would don the cape and cowl to take on Henry Cavill's Superman. Ben Affleck would become the Batman. Bale gracefully passed the torch to Affleck, reflecting positively on his time in the role.
Now, Ben told us that you gave him the best advice when it came to playing Batman. What was that advice?
Two things. I said, be able to turn your head, because it's a nightmare when you can't turn your head when you're meant to be fighting people. But mostly, that if you're going to play a superhero, be able to take a piss by yourself, because otherwise it doesn't feel very superheroic, you know? So I just said have a zipper or something so he can take care of business himself, whereas I like to have somebody take care of business for me.
No.
You know?
That's amazing. Have you seen the trailer yet?
Yeah, I watched it with my son. It looks great. Yeah.
And though Christian Bale's time as Batman had come to an end, The Dark Knight would live on, returning in a brand new on-screen adaptation of the character in 2016's Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. The Dark Knight Rises was a financial and critical success, though it didn't garner quite as much praise as its predecessor, The Dark Knight. Backed by a strong promotional campaign, the film was unbound by the original trilogy's plan by removing the Joker from the script entirely out of respect for the late Heath Ledger's iconic portrayal. Nolan was able to craft a narrative he felt was a fitting conclusion to his overwhelmingly popular Batman reboot trilogy. The film was released alongside a massive merchandising push, rivaling the original Batmania during the summer of 1989's Batman film release, including a video game tie-in for iOS and Android. After Batman's fall from grace in The Dark Knight, it was only fitting that for the conclusion of the trilogy, audiences would get to see Batman become a full hero in the city's eyes, would get to watch as The Dark Knight rises.